Hi friends, welcome to Sreedhar'scce Anantapuramu YouTube channel and welcome to our session, editorial analysis session. Like, what do we have in our session daily? Like, we start with the quote of the day for the motivation purpose and root words to memorize the vocabulary in their best possible way, and moreover we're in the alphabetical order. Today we are going to enter F alphabet even, and idioms and phrases, especially keeping the exam in point of view, and the vocabulary comprising phrasal verbs of the phrasal verbs related to the editorial and idiomatic expressions, as well as content vocabulary along with their parts of speech, and analysis related to the editor, and last but not the least, test of the day with shortcuts. Without delaying, let's get to today's quote. What do you mean by this? Keep your face always toward the sunshine and shadows will fall behind you. So yes, most of the people, they just ponder about the happened things and the past things and the obstacles which were just passed, or the failures which were just experienced, whatever they are. Most of the people just will be in that particular past. The thing is, if you just go on focusing on these past things, sad things, hurting things and obstacles, failures, when do you move forward? So the thing is, past is past. Everyone says this. So whatever past is past. The thing is, look forward. So what is awaiting? Just look forward. Just keep on moving. Then automatically these obstacles, all these failures, they stay behind you, they fall behind you. Just focus your things on the upcoming things and motivation related things. Phrasal expressions. Today's phrase is depicted as and sit through. Depicted as means to show someone as something, that's it. Depiction. Filmmaker depicted India as an affluent country. Affluent meaning, please? Affluent meaning is wealthy country. The filmmaker depicted India to be, what does that mean? Like, it's going to be an affluent country, whatever it is, but depicted generally takes this as a connector. Next, sit through, like until the end. So especially till the end of something, especially dull related. We were bored and wanted to leave halfway through, but we sat through. We sat throughout that, keep in that sense, like throughout the match. We sat through the match, though it's boring. We were bored and wanted to leave halfway through, but we sat throughout. The thing is, you should not use out. We sat through is enough. Next root words. Yes, as I said, we entered alphabet F. We have got F-U-Z, fuse, which means different meanings. It may mean run away, or it may mean flee. Flee means escape. What are the verb forms of flee? Can you please? Verb forms of flee, don't think like fleet or flight or flight. Fled, F-L-E-D, right? Fugitive, number of times we will listen this. Who has escaped? Escaped person is called as fugitive. And next, refugee. Refuse and refugee, two types. Refuse is a place where the shelter was taken, especially from danger. Refugee is the person who has left their country to escape danger, right? Next, G and Zen or Zeno or Zeni relates to family, both of formation of kind or race. Genealogy, study of family history, lines of descent, like hereditary, like genes related. Zen, narration, people born and living at approximately the same time is called as a generation. We all belong to same generation. Like genetic, relating to heredity encoded in genes. We know this, genetic codes or something like that. Let's get to vocabulary of the day. Start with far-reaching, widespread, like extensive, important, significant. In effect, practically possible. Consolidate, you have got solid in this, to strengthen, like solid, to make stronger, reinforce. Fortify, remember this word also we get number of times. Fort means like quota. How does that fort look? How does that fort be like? It's like very strong and strengthy, right? So that's why it's consolidate, solid, fortify, fort. Usher in, usher sometimes used in one word substitutes also. Usher is the person who guides you in movie cinema theaters to your seat. So if you use it as a verb, ushered are the verb forms. Usher in, it's a phrasal verb actually. It means to start or to begin or to initiate, especially to get directed to one particular place. Scrutinize, examining, scrutinization, scrutiny, like examining carefully, inspecting carefully. Next, paramilitary. What is this? Standing committee, paramilitary panel. It is a committee consisted usually on an annual basis to enable detailed consideration, discussion on bills, especially for the proposed law. Standing committee or parliamentary panel. Contentious, contention, bone of contention. It's an idiomatic expression. Bone of contention means the matter which caused the dispute between the brothers or anyone. Contentious is adjective form. Contention means dispute actually, which means disputable, debatable. All this will come. Threshold. What is the meaning of threshold? Limited to the level. So we get this word also now and then. Layoff, unemployment or dismissal or discharge or redundancy. Like being quite according to the context of the this editorial, layoff means unemployment. Retrenchment, the act of dismissing. Retrench means to get to dismiss someone, cutting down or something. Reduction, particularly public expenditure, spending less money. Exit strategy, a plan for the transition of business ownership. Objective, aim, intention, intent, purpose. We know this. Amalgamate, amalgamation. Noun, amalgamate means combining, merging, uniting. Next, rationalize, make more efficient or make something simplify, make something simplified. Honed, HOND, it's a new term, remember, hone, rationalize. Voluminous, volume, full of ample, big, etc. etc. Voluminous, it's an adjective form, which means large. Next question. Next, vocabulary. Stakeholder, person with an interest in something, so who holds that stake. Impetus, motivation, encouragement, so a boost also can say. Adversely, negative word, unfavorably, disadvantageously, badly. Provision, we know, clause, provision, condition. Administer, if it is used in verb sense, administer, like managing, controlling, regulating. Gig workers. Who are these gig workers? Gig workers refer to the workers outside of traditional employer-employee relationship, employer-employee relationship, including freelancers, workers who are employed on a contractual basis with their employers. Project-based work and short-term work are called as gig employers. And platform workers. So who are these platform workers? These workers who do platform-based work where they earn money by providing specific services, including food delivery services. These are all platforms. So under certain platform we have to do the work, they're called as platform workers. Apart from freelancers do some work on their own are called as gig workers. Next, expansive, extensive, broad, sweeping. Confer, conferred, so vest to, accord to, grant to something is confer. Delegation, assignment, giving, deputation, transference. Executive order, an indisputable, unquestionable order issued by the government, executive, to execute something. Discretion, choice, like conducive, good for, helpful for something. Let's get to today's editorial. What is the editorial about? Court debate about new labor bills. Far-reaching, so widespread, very important, significant in effect. The new labor codes require greater deliberation. Some laws are far too important, have far too much impact on the people to be passed in haste or without sufficient deliberation, like a pre-consultants. So some laws like these, like labor bills, they are very important and far too have much impact on the people, definitely, because to be passed in haste, so they can't be passed in haste means hurried. The three codes aimed at consolidating diverse labor laws and ushering in reforms fall in this category. So which category they are discussing? So here analysis is like exclusively which kind of questions they can ask and how we have to crack them, how sensitively, how shall we read this passage. These kind of things are clearly discussed here. 3 codes aimed at consolidating diverse labor and laws ushering in reforms fall in this category. Which category? Which are too important and which have too much impact on the people to be passed. So in that way they can be asked. So 3 codes. So which codes are aimed at consolidating diverse labor? Excuse me. The codes were passed. So lack of oxygen, I think so. I mean, it's about sleep or something. The codes were passed in both houses after a limited debate and in the absence of the opposition. So these were passed in both houses. Limited debate and especially in the absence of opposition was passed. That was too horrible to say. The codes related to this labor. And the Industrial Relations Code, the Social Security Code, the Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code. 3 codes. They can ask in this ways also. Like what are the 3 codes discussed here? Industrial Relation Code and Social Security Code and Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions Code. 2020 are an updated version of the respective codes of 2019, however, which were scrutinized by a standing committee. Therefore, there is considerable merit in the argument that the fresh drafts introduced a few days before their passage ought to have been sent back to the panel for an assessment. However, they should have done these things like drafts, whichever the drafts were there, they have to be sent before their passage. They ought to be sent back to the panel for their assessment. It is significant that the most controversial feature, the increase in the threshold safety measures for a limit, like in the threshold for an establishment to seek government permission before closure, layoff or retrenchment from units that employ 100 workers to 300 was not found in the 2019 draft. However, so which was missing in 2019 draft? Layoff, that means completely in a resting position, retrenchment, removing the employees from the units, so which at least employ 100 to 300 workers, so was not found in this previous draft but has been introduced now. So in this draft it's clearly introduced. This gives establishments greater freedom in their termination and exit decisions. However, this is going to give more power to the employer to for the termination of the employees and exit decisions even. No one disagrees with the basic objective of amalgamating, means combining, simplifying and rationalizing labor laws. Everyone accepts this. However, the very fact that it involves a huge body of legislation should have meant that the final version was widely discussed with the stakeholders who have interest and given sufficient time and opportunity to give their views. These have to be done. So before getting all these things to be accepted by the legislation. The root of the idea consolidated labor codes goes back to the June 2002 report of the Second National Commission on Labour. So root, when was this root found? So it dated back to 2002 June month. The broad vision has been to give an impetus to economic activities, the boosting to economic activity without adversely affecting the interests of workers. So that was the vision of 2002 report. Whether this is adequately reflected in the new provisions will be tested by the experience of the administering the codes. So however, that particular vision that to give a boosting to the economic activity without affecting these interests of workers has been improved, so has been reflected in this new provisions or not, we have to, so those have to be tested by the experience of administering the codes. A positive feature is that the Social Security Code promises the establishment of social security funds for unorganized workers. So first thing we need to be very happy or positively taken is that this security code promises establishment of security code funds, especially for unorganized workers who don't come particularly under the registered companies or factories, as well as gig and platform workers. So these also come under to this security funds, and also says their welfare would be addressed by the NSCB, that means National Social Security Board. A contentious, that means again controversial section, allows the appropriate government to exempt any new factory from all provisions of the code on occupational health, safety and working conditions. So one more thing, controversial section allows to this appropriate government is to exempt any new factory from this code, so because they are new to this field. The threshold or the limit for considering any premises as a factory has also been raised from 10 to 20 workers without the use of power, and from 20 to 40 with power. So one more thing which has been raised in the new drafts is the threshold of this factory premises has been raised from 10 to 20 workers without the use of power, and from 20 to 40 with power related works. It is significant that almost all major trade unions are opposing the new codes. So based on all these things, so maximum number of companies are opposing these new codes. This reflects a genuine fear that extensive powers of exemption have been conferred on the respective governments, and there has been excessive delegation of rule making powers. So that's what the point from these people, like genuine fear of this major trade unions. Next, the threshold for layoffs as well as various social security schemes can be raised by executive order. Safety standards can be changed. So however, this limits of these layoffs as well as various security schemes can be raised by an executive order. Safety standards can also be changed. There is much reason to fear that conferring wide discretion, so distribution of this power to the central and state governments, may not be conducive to the interests of workers. However, one more thing we need to think about is, so there is a reason to fear that this conferring or granting wide discretion to the central and state government, it's not going to be conducive to the interests of workers at the end of the day. Okay, that's all, and let's get to the test of the day. I got you 2 more questions today, so it's also a kind of closed test. Be very accurate and connecting to this context. Read this. There was once again dash of possible global economic, so economy related, dash in the air. In the air means it's a phrasal expression. Whether these foreboding means something bad is going to happen, and guessing that something bad in prior. Well, dash is a matter of economists to debate. It is worth asking, if there were to be another financial crisis in the near future, would political dash in the world have the dash to respond effectively? However, so next, after the 2008 crisis, the global system dash a response to contain immediate crisis. It was by no means adequate to deal with the deep structural issues dash the global economy, but there was nonetheless a coordinated response of some kind, whatever it is. So we had a brief outlook of this passage, and let's get into the first one. Yes, question 1. Actually, these are misplaced. Check them carefully. There are once again dash of a possible global economic. Once again, here the hint is there are once again. So which one do you want to go with? Murmurings, rumors, like telling silently. So year to year. Or murmurings, no need to think the remainder. Breaks, it's not breaking, it's about guessing or rumoring. Next one. Murmurings of a possible global economic. What's going to happen? Boom, sound, policy, seasonous, turbulence, trouble to the global economy. Next question. So global economic turbulence, trouble in the air, means about to happen. It's the guess of all the people. Whether these forebodings, this is the hint also. Like if you know this very clearly, you could go immediately to turbulence option to the previous blank. So whether these forebodings, like guessing danger, so will dash is a, so will what? Will require or will suggest, will allocate, will transact, will transpire. Will happen or not is a matter of debate of economists. Next point. Next question. It's a economists matter to debate. But it is worth asking, if there were to be another financial crisis. So definitely there is a worth asking, means we have to ask this question, that is there going to be another financial crisis in the near future? Would political dash, junctions, configurations, renovations, transfers, placements. So junctions is not related to context, renovations not about renovation, transfer, placements it's not about configurations is the suitable option to this particular blank. So would political configurations in the world have the dash to respond effectively? So what is the dash to respond effectively? Dash, once again let me see this clearly. Yeah, so would political configurations in the world have the dash to respond? So we read a noun, have the charges, bill, wherewithal, arrears, withdrawals. Wherewithal means money served for a purpose. So this political configurations are going to have money. Wherewithal means money. So money for a particular purpose. To respond effectively or not is the question which we have to ask. That is a worth asking question. The global system dash a response. So dash a response, lost, caught, mounted, all are V2 forms. Let's check this once again. Dash a response to contain the immediate crisis. What is the meaning of contain? To stop, to keep it in hold. So here the word have, what is this? The global system dash a response to contain the immediate crisis. So here the question is, this global system lost or caught or mounted or diminished or disfigured. Meaningless. Mounted. What is the meaning of mounted? Increased. So whether this global system mounted a response or at least gave a response or increased its response to contain this immediate crisis, these are the questions worth asking. So right from here to here there is no full stop. We check it carefully. So up to here. Next, after 2008 crisis, the global system dash, would have political configurations, have the dash, have the wherewithal. That's over. Next, where up to here, after the global system dash a response to contain the immediate crisis, mounted the response, increased. So increased its response. Okay. Next, it was by no means adequate, means sufficient to deal with the deep structural issues dash the global economy. So issues means negative, not strengthening, twisting, gaining. These are all positives except twisting. Ailing means giving trouble, ailments, troubles. So which were giving troubles to the economy. So there we go, guys. So sometimes such complicated things will come, but you should be very careful with the context and also grammatical points, like which blank fits the particular, which parts of speech fits the particular blank. You should be very careful. In that way you can crack this model easily. Okay, that's all for the day, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching the class. More are yet to come. Thank you for watching. So don't forget to like. Thank you. Signing off.